Meeting. Today's date is Thursday, August 23rd, 2018, and our time is 8:30 a.m. We'll begin today with our roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners Antor.
Here.
Vice Chair Bolter. Here. Commissioners Breeby. Here. Bulkowski. Hennessy. Here. Jones. Here. Kallman. Korndike.
Present.
Mast. Melton.
Present.
Morgan.
Here.
Ponstein.
Here.
Skaggs.
Here.
Steck.
Here.
Talon.
Here.
Funk.
Here.
Voorhees.
Present.
Womack.
Present.
Chair Salfeld.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 members present, 3 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will then move to agenda items number 3 and 4, and I will call on Commissioner Steck.
Good morning. Good morning. If you hadn't noticed, we are devolving into what we call our season of discord. That's an election cycle for most of us. Which is our national opportunity to essentially demonize and ridicule whoever doesn't agree with us. And that tends to be the predominant theme nowadays. So for our invocation this morning, I would like to engage in a prayer of reconciliation. So please join me. Dear Lord God, we praise you as our Creator. We acknowledge that you have infused all things and all people with your divine character. We acknowledge that you have created each of us to be unique and diverse. Different sexes, different races, different ethnicities, different cultures, and even different sizes and shapes. And in all that uniqueness and diversity, you reflect your divine character. Yet while our uniqueness and diversity is a gift from you, we confess that we have all too often distorted that gift. We have used our own differences as an excuse to abuse, to discriminate, to blame, and to even elevate ourselves over others. And so as you have reconciled your creation, convict us of our need to be reconciled to each other. Not to eliminate our uniqueness or our diversity, or even the differences we have in perspective, but to live in your calling, to humbly and thoughtfully respect and embrace all people as equally created in your image. In all of our complexities in this world, we ask for clarity. We ask for wisdom where there is folly. We ask and pray for understanding where there is misunderstanding. And we pray for humility where there is excessive pride. Most of all, we pray for our country, for our state, for our county, and our communities. We ask that you bring peace, respect, understanding, and reconciliation across the full breadth of our world. We pray this in the name of He who has reconciled us to you. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Steck. We will then move to agenda item number 5. We have one special order of business this morning, and I would call on Lance Werner to come forward and present on behalf of the Kent District Library. Or somebody else. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Penny Weller, and I chair the Kent District Library Board
Wonderful.
of Trustees. Lance is going to let me go first.
Okay.
Because I want to tell you that this year has been just a fantastic year for KDL. It all started early in the year when we were notified that Lance was going to be the Library Journal's Librarian of the Year. The biggest honor that a library director can receive, and he is the first librarian in Michigan to get this award. Needless to say, we are so proud of him. It's just an amazing award, and it just shines so much light on our library and the wonderful things that Lance is doing. I just want to tell you about a couple of the things that we're doing. We're doing so many different things, but two of the things that are really special to me. One is our bookmobile, and early in August, you will see a brand new KDL bookmobile around the roads in Kent County. This is a special bookmobile. We'll be visiting mostly preschool areas and senior citizens areas where the underserved people in Kent County can't always get to a library, and this bookmobile is going to rock. In the morning before hitting the road, we'll be loading books onto the bookmobile that will fit the people that are going to use that bookmobile. If we're going to a preschool in the morning, we'll be loading books on that little people will enjoy reading. When we go to a senior citizen center on another day, we'll be loading that bookmobile with books that are specifically things that seniors would like to read. We'll be having large print books available so that those of us that can't see so well will also be able to read. And this is just another way that we're reaching out to people that can't always get to libraries. We're also actively working on the reading scores of K through 3 in Kent County. As you know, Michigan ranks 41st in third grade readers that are not reading to the grade level. It's just a tragic thing that we haven't gotten that raise, but we're working to raise it. We're partnering with the Literacy Center, ISD partnership supporting parents and families. Our goal is to help support teachers and parents and students by providing resources for that support. In November last year, all of our librarians through all 19 branches of Kent District Library received extensive training on what third graders need to improve their reading skills. And that training was conducted by the counselors at KISD's early literacy coaches. If parents have a child who is struggling, they can go to any librarian in any one of our libraries, and we're also partnering with Grand Rapids Public Library on this, so they can go to any library in Kent County and be directed toward books that will help improve their child's reading skills. We're working to create a literacy-based kits in our library so that when parents come into the library, they can work with their children with these kits. And we are also building kits that they can take home and work with their children at home. The fact is that when parents work with their children as well as when the teachers work with their children, parents are far more impactful on that child's education. It's going to help parents that are busy anyway, helping to engage them with their children's reading. We also are working on a county-wide reading incentive program for K through 3. It's called Mission Read, 1,000 Days of Reading. This program is designed to help kids establish that read everyday habit. We're also, at Kent District Library, we're working to develop volunteer programs that will pair volunteers with children that just need that little extra help tutoring them. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Lance, and congratulations on that great award.
Yeah, the whole personal award's kind of weird. I gotta say that, what's true is I'm a public servant, and I feel blessed to have the ability to spend my life serving people and trying to help them be the best version of themselves. And what we do at KDL is a team sport, and the award really belongs to everybody. I'm just one gear in a big machine.
But I'm so proud of the work that we do, and I want to thank you for your support and friendship, and what we do wouldn't be possible without having you as part of the family. 2017 was a great year for us. We were the busiest library in the state. We had over 8 million circulations. We had over 260,000 people at our programs. And we had 2.8 million visitors that came into the library or visited us through outreach programs. We are the broadband provider in the north part of the county, in the rural areas where people don't have access to that service. We provide Wi-Fi hotspots and devices that enable them to access things that a lot of us take for granted in areas that do have Wi-Fi. We opened the Kelloggsville branch in Kelloggsville High School, and one thing that's true about that area is that over 80% of the kids there are on free and reduced lunch. And when summertime comes, it's a tough time. So what we decided to do was to partner with Feeding America to make sure that those kids had full stomachs, because we know kids that have full stomachs are ready to learn. And kids that are hungry are not. They're worried about getting something to eat, as you might expect. And so we really want to thank Feeding America for being our partner, and that was a really popular program. I'm happy to announce that we circulated almost 75,000 items to people with vision issues through our library services for the blind and physically handicapped. And we are committed to lifting everybody up. And we're happy to announce, too, that we have a military card for active duty personnel and their families and veterans as well. So it's a way to say thank you for everyone's service to the country. It's the least we can do. Thrilled to be able to do that. I want to thank you again for everything and for your support and your friendship. And I want to say it is certainly an honor to serve the public in Kent County and to have an opportunity to make Kent County everything that it can be. And we're damn proud to be West Michiganders. And I'm happy to answer your questions.
Great, thank you, Lance. We'll next answer questions of Vice Chair Bolter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Because broadband is an issue, can the libraries partner with other groups to kind of help, increase that access and into the rural areas? I have some areas in my district that are still, even in Cascade, still having broadband access issues.
Well, you probably should call me directly, and we can talk about that more. I know that we have made efforts to reach out to others, and with limited success.
Okay. I just mean, could we think outside the box and partner maybe with communications companies and various groups to kind of try to get that effort, get grants and draw down grants to try to help that statewide?
Yeah, well, what we're hoping to do is we have had some of those conversations. We'll have more. We're constantly exploring how we can provide more service without increasing our price point, because it's not cheap. We have over 200 Wi-Fi hotspots that circulate for a month at a time. But what we would like to do is set up a kind of a new model that could be replicated in other parts of the state, because the fact of the matter is that if you get north of 14 Mile in this county and pretty much north of 14 Mile around the state, until you get up to Traverse City, it's pretty skimpy up there with respect to broadband. There's so many things now that are done electronically that not having access to broadband and access to technology is crippling. So what we're hoping to do here is to set up a new model. The same thing's true. We've worked with the Secretary of State and the County Clerk and the Clerks Association to find people to work polls. It's a great volunteer opportunity. It's an incredibly important civic duty, and we have a lot of folks that are excited to do it, and we put them through the training, and it's the least that we can do. What we do at KDL is to identify societal problems that we're well positioned to deal with, and then we work on dealing with them. We want to transform people's lives and make Kent County everything it can be. Sorry, it's my very meandering answer to your very short question.
Thank you.
Commissioner Melton.
Thank you, Chair. Just a word of support. When my granddaughter turned 2, her almost 4-year-old brother decided that the best celebration they could have for her was for them to go to the library. And when he had his 4th birthday, he didn't want to be left out. So not only did he want to go to the library, but he wanted to invite Pops and Mammy, which would be myself and my husband. It is one of their favorite trips to take. And I realize that their mom has had something to do with it, but it is, once they're there, they are welcome, they are welcomed, and there's so many things that are set out for kids. So thank you from a grandparent who just beams when my kids say, that's how I'd like to spend my birthday.
Thank you so much for sharing that. What's true is that every kid in Kent County is our kid too.
Well,
And I'm so happy to hear that, and that's what it's all about.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Lance, just a few things. I'd like to have you take a moment and share how the summer reading program went that KDL does for both adults and children. And then what you have been doing, you have that whole bicycle piece.
Oh, yes.
Which I think is worth just mentioning and highlighting. So if you could hit those two topics, because as you know, I'm a regular user of KDL at a variety of different branches, and I think it's a huge asset and gem for our community. But I think those two programs really stand out to me.
Summer reading is hugely important, especially for kids, because it helps reduce the summer slide. And in the old days, we would spend more time counting people that signed up, which is different than now. Now we count people that have completed, and it's our number of completers this year over last year has increased dramatically. I think we were up to, I want to say, 17,000. I'd have to check the numbers in the book. I haven't recently looked at them. But we're seeing more and more people complete summer reading. So it's not just enough to sign up and then you're done. You don't get the benefit of the program unless you are actually engaged in it. And so we've noticed that both adults and kids, more people are signing up. A lot of it has to do with, and it's a good family activity, a lot of it has to do with, we have kind of fun prizes. So everybody likes to get in on that action and we make it fun. We are easily the most successful and busiest summer reading library program in Michigan, if not the Midwest. We get more people involved than anywhere. A lot of the schools are our partners and help keep kids engaged. So you're going to just see that grow and grow and grow. It's extremely important to us, and it's something, like I said before, we can do to reduce the summer slide. And the bicycles are still very popular. You know, Kent County is a very fit place. You wouldn't know it looking at me. I happen to like beer and bacon. But yeah, they're going great guns, and we're going to continue to see bicycles at our branches. We're starting to look at some of the branches for possible kayak applications. We have kayaks available. You know, check out the library. You can check out a kayak. I mean, why wouldn't you do that, right? And who knows what's next? I'm a fisherman. Maybe we'll have fishing rods somewhere at some point. But we just like to provide things that people want that make them happy. And the things that we offer that aren't text, you know, traditional things are along those lines. We have GoPros available. We have ukuleles. You ever want to jam out, you know? Make a big weekend? I don't know.
Thanks.
But yeah.
If you want to make them happy, you should have beer and bacon.
Well, we do have a beer program. We have a bacon program. Holy smokes, we arrived.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Salfeld. Lance, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
I want to back up to the bookmobile. How are the books gotten to the truck? Are they donated books or the ones you purchased?
The ones we've purchased.
Okay, so when the bookmobile rolls up, they're checking it out, or are we giving them?
No, they're checking books out, and what Penny was describing is we understood and are acutely aware that you can't have a one-size-fits-all collection in the bookmobile. So we had the bookmobile designed in a special way that instead of having traditional shelves all over the inside of it, there'll be some, but not many. There'll be more carts that we can preload with different types of materials. So as Penny said, if we were going to a school, we would have more, you know, age-appropriate materials for kids in the school. If we're going to a retirement center, we would have, you know, things that were more appealing to retirees and large print. Or if we were going to an area that was, you know, large Latino population, we would have more, you know, items in Spanish. We could tailor our collection that way. But we buy those materials and we check them out there. We plan on also trying to circulate iPads through the bookmobile. And we really want to not only be engaged with the schools, but also recognize that there are a lot of places in the north part of the county that transportation's an issue. And, you know, it's the whole, you know, sometimes you gotta bring the mountain to the person. You can't expect the person to come to the mountain. And then we're committed to that. We really feel that, you know, convenience is king, and we need to meet people on their own terms. Very excited to have that. And it wouldn't be possible without that grant from the Steelcase Foundation too, by the way. And we also have another grant from the Fry Foundation to help us subsidize the cost of collections. So it's a community effort.
Thank you, Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. I'll add my accolades to those already offered. Great work and great numbers in the fact book. One thing I wanted to ask if you could offer some perspective on. It looks like, I recognize it's not audited financial information, but it looks like about a $3.2 million surplus in 2017. What are your plans with that? How does that, give us some context for that. Thank you.
We have the Amy Van Andel branch coming. And it's going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be around, well, it's over 20,000 square feet. And so we are kind of getting ready to position ourselves so we can put a new collection in there and get all our technology in there and do all the things we need to do to make it snappy and make it right on day one. And if we tried to just do it in the year that it opens, it would be a huge financial hit for us. So we are kind of being very conscientious about that and holding some money back. So we're well positioned to deal with that new branch. We're going to be up to 20 branches. When I started, we had 18. But what's true is that if you're doing great work and you know, something that's meaningful, people like to be a part of that. And so we're seeing growth.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I don't see any. Thank you again, Lance, and again, congratulations on that outstanding award. First time in Michigan, is that right?
Yes, yes, and my mom's librarian too, so it was kind of cool to tell her. You know?
I bet. Well,
but, I want to thank you all, and I want you to know that you always have a friend in KDL, and we really do appreciate your support and your friendship. And thank you for all the work that you do. I know that it's hard. Being a public servant isn't a job for weenies. You know, it takes some guts, and you probably don't hear it enough, but I understand, and I really respect it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move then to our agenda item number 6, which is public comment, and just a few reminders on that. During public comment, we ask that speakers state their name and address. As has been our practice in the past 3 years, comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers will be notified at the 2-minute mark that they have 1 minute to complete their comment, and will be told when the 3-minute period has been reached. A person may address the board on matters or issues that are relevant to county government. I, as chair, may disallow public comment that is unduly repetitious, not relevant to county government, or regarding matters not under consideration by the board. We ask that speakers line up in the queue, and that you wait your turn to come forward to address the commission. So you may proceed. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Idalia Tinoco. I live in Kent County. Han pasado 2 meses desde que comenzamos la campaña para finalizar el contrato de Kent County tiene con ICE. Durante estos 2 meses hemos venido a todas las reuniones de la Comisión del Condado para exigir el final del contrato. Hemos distribuido una petición con más de 1,700 firmas. Hemos demostrado durante las celebraciones del 4 de julio, hemos visitado sedes de la Comisión del Condado de Kent. Presidente, hemos realizado una concentración en la cárcel del Condado de Kent y nos hemos reunido con administradores del condado, comisionados y miembros del departamento del sheriff. La respuesta que seguimos recibiendo de los comisionados del condado es que no terminarán para contratar a ICE el departamento del sheriff. Nos dice que están obligados por la ley a hacerlo. Sin embargo, numerosas ciudades y gobiernos de otros condados en todo el país han terminado su contrato con ICE. Los comisionados del condado no han dicho que no tienen el poder, con lo que estamos completamente en desacuerdo. Además, los funcionarios del condado han descartado por completo la experiencia vivida de la comunidad de inmigrantes, que está siendo aterrorizada por ICE. Los funcionarios del condado han escuchado directamente de la comunidad de inmigrantes, sobre todo cómo están siendo perjudicados por la violencia de ICE, y se les ha presentado información sobre las llamadas semanales de Grand Rapids Response.
2 minutes.
Recibe de la comunidad de inmigrantes que han sido blanco de ICE. Por lo tanto, dejemos en claro a todos que continuaremos esta lucha para terminar el contrato. Continuaremos hablando en contra del daño que ICE está haciendo en nuestra comunidad. Continuaremos apoyando a las familias que están siendo separadas por ICE y nosotros seguiremos asistiendo a las reuniones de las comisiones del condado hasta que se termine el contrato y el condado ya no sea cómplice de la violencia contra la comunidad de inmigrantes que está llevando a cabo ICE. Además, mi comunidad está aterrorizada por el gobierno ICE, que está cada vez separando familias en contra de la comunidad hispana. Sabemos que muchos piensan que somos criminales y no lo somos. Habemos mucha gente honrada trabajando.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
It has been 2 months we began our campaign to end the contract with ICE. During those 2 months, we've come to every county commission meeting, to demand an end to the contract. We have circulated a petition with over 1,700 signatures. We have demonstrated during 4th of July celebrations. We visited the home of the Kent County Commission Chairman. We've had a rally at the Kent County Jail. We have met with county administrators, commissioners, and members of the Sheriff's Department. The answer we keep getting from county officials is that they will not end the contract with ICE. The Sheriff's Department told us they are obligated by law to do so, yet numerous cities and counties have already ended their contract with ICE. County commissioners have told us they do not have the power, which we obviously disagree with. In addition, county officials have completely dismissed the lived experiences of the immigrant community, which is being terrorized by ICE. County commissioners have heard directly from the immigrant community how they are being harmed by ICE violence, and they have been presented with information about the weekly calls that Grand Rapids Rapid Response receives from the immigrant community that has been targeted by ICE. Therefore, let us make it clear to everyone that we will continue the fight to end the contract. We will continue to speak out against the harm ICE is doing in our communities. And we will continue to support the families that are being separated by ICE. And we will continue to attend county commission meetings until the contract is terminated and the county is no longer complicit in the violence against the immigrant community that is being done by ICE.
Could you state your name for the record?
Alex Kelly.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Denise Einweg. So you have heard from members of COSECHA and Rapid Response, and I would like to give my impression of the meeting that was held on August 6th. Mr. Talon promised a meeting that would be a working meeting to lay out a path forward. All of you expressed some sympathy and caring for the situation that is happening to our immigrant community. What that meeting was poorly attended. It was time-wasting. It accomplished nothing more than to insult and frustrate those in attendance as well as their supporters. What we did hear was very encouraging testimony from Commissioner Womack, supporting the immigrant community and urging his colleagues to do the same. I would like to thank you, Commissioner. Standing up for your convictions and facing potential negative repercussions takes a lot of courage, and I admire that. As for Commissioners Steck and Volkowski, instead of helping or creating a path forward, you did nothing of value. Mr. Steck, you said you couldn't effectively sign the resolution because it would be just rubber stamping it, because you did not know what the total impact would be for the entire Kent County if the ICE contract was broken. You also reiterated the need for time to fully investigate this. I'm calling BS on that comment. You've had time to investigate. You've had weeks. Asking for more time is the equivalent of saying, I don't care enough to devote the time and the energy to this issue to handle it in an urgent manner. You claim to care, but your actions are belying your words. Even more insulting was your excuse for not breaking the contract. You stated you have similar agreements in place with other counties. You said, how could I explain that I no longer honor the ICE contract? I cannot believe that your biggest concern is the opinion of other agencies. There's something you could do. You could stand up, you could tell them you're breaking the ICE contract because it's destroying the immigrant families in your communities.
2 minutes.
You could be honest with them and tell them you're not going to be complicit. In the past couple of months, nothing has been accomplished by the commissioner group as a whole. However, there are 19 of you, and it's easy to share blame for inaction with such a large number. So we should call out everybody for their individual complicity. There were 185 arrests last year. How many happened in each district? Do you know? Commissioner Ponstein, how many arrests happened in Wyoming? Commissioner Voorhees, do you know? Commissioner Talon, what about District 15? Do you know how many arrests occurred there? Do you care? It is quite literally your job to know these things and what's going on in your neighborhoods. So, I believe we need to understand which communities are being targeted the most. We've heard that breaking the contract would not effectively end what is happening, so this needs to be a two-pronged approach. You need to understand what's happening
That's 3 minutes, thank you.
each community, and we need to take some action, and we should follow up with each of you to make sure this occurs.
Thank you. Any other public comment this morning? I'm not seeing any, so we will move to agenda item number 7, which is our consent agenda. Before that, I am going to call on Vice Chair Bolter for a special motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move to add an agenda item on the back of our agenda and make an 8G. We've got some contract negotiations to discuss some new information, so I move for a closed session item on 8G on the back of our agenda.
Support.
Okay, that's been
We're adding an agenda item.
adding agenda item 8G, which is regarding union contract negotiations. We'll go into closed session for that. Okay, that's been moved by Vice Chair Bolter, supported by Commissioner Korndike. Any questions on that? I see none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We then proceed with our consent agenda, which is item number 7, and for that I will call on Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. I would move approval of the consent agenda of today's date. Support.
Support by Commissioner Voorhees. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? I do not see any. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioners Breivy.
Yes.
Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Kallman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Melton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you. We move then to agenda item number 8. We have various resolutions, and for the first one, I will call on Commissioner Bonk.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move resolution number 62 of today's date, labor agreement, police officers, labor council, captains, lieutenants, and from human resources.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner, was that Breivy? Okay. Questions or comments on this item? I'm not seeing, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Stack?
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick question. I wasn't quite sure on the indication of the total 5-year increase to salary. Is that the cumulative number over 5 years, or is that an annual number?
Yes, it's cumulative.
Any other questions? I do not see any. This is a roll call vote, so I will call on Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 8/23/1862, Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioner Breeze.
Yes.
Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Coleman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Melton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 8/23/1862 is adopted.
Thank you. We move then to resolution, the second resolution, and for that I will call on Commissioner Skaggs.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 63 of today's date, amendments to labor agreements, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Association, Teamsters Local 214, and the Circuit Court Referee Association.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Melton. Questions or comments on this resolution? I do not see any, and it is a roll call vote, so I'll call on Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 8/23/1863, Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioners Breeze.
Yes.
Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Coleman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Melton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 8/23/1863 is adopted.
Thank you. We move then to our third resolution, and I will call on Commissioner Melton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we adopt resolution number 64 of today's date, Kent County Community Action Appropriations.
Support. Support by Commissioner Korndike. Questions or comments on this resolution? Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. Just a question again. I'm not quite sure. What is the rationale for the difference between the 70% contribution from Comstock Park and Sparta and 100% from KSD? Why the difference?
We had a lively discussion about that. One of you?
Somebody from the Sheriff's Office, please come forward.
I'm not sure I heard the question. I apologize.
My question was, it indicates that 70% of the costs of the staff will be paid by Sparta and Comstock for theirs, but 100% by KSD. Why 100% for one and 70% for the others?
The sharing agreement for cost for most of the school districts are based on the fact that we are the primary responding agency for law enforcement calls in that area. It's a little bit different with Kent KSD because their physical campus is located in the city of Grand Rapids. Their school resource officer program will also look quite a bit different than the rest of the school resource officers because there's a substantial amount of truancy as part of that mission. So they're going to be going out and following up with students who have a truancy issue and families. So the program is a little bit different. It most closely fits with our school resource officer program than any of our other programs, but I would say it's more of a blend between a community police and school resource.
Good.
As a follow-up, so do we size this differently depending upon the negotiations and what services? So it's not like all the schools pay 70% and...
Well, except for this particular position, all the rest of the schools have paid 70%. That being said, as we do continue to talk to different school districts, our approach will be, for example, if a school district wants additional school resource officers, the 70% is only going to be for the first school resource officer. Any additionals will be at 100%. And if there's something that is kind of outside of the normal mission of the school resource officer, then we'll evaluate that program individually. but that's kind of how we have it set up right now.
I'm just a little concerned, it's all treated equitably across the board.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're trying to evaluate, but again, because this is a little bit more of a blend between a school resource officer and a community police program, our community police officers are all charged at 100%. So that's what we thought would be the best alignment in this context.
I have a point of order. You're asking questions on what is Resolution 8E, and we are on actually 8C. So I will, I let you go because I figured that takes care of the questions when we're on that resolution. But to clarify the matter for everybody, we are on Resolution 8C at the present time. So are there any other questions on item 8C? I don't see any. This is a roll call vote. I will call on Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 1864, Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioners Breivy.
Yes.
Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Kallman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Milton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Still yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 823-1864 is adopted.
Thank you. We move then to Resolution number 4, and I will call on Commissioner Melton again.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we support Resolution 65 of today's date. Police report fees and prosecutor from the prosecutor's office.
Support by Commissioner Breivy. Questions or comments on this resolution? Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair Salfeld. I wasn't able to see the minutes or see the Finance Committee meeting. I think this was just discussed on Tuesday. It's not clear to me. I'm wondering if someone can explain who actually pays this fee. Is it a police department? Is it the sheriff's department? Or is it a citizen that pays it?
Most of the time, it's the defense attorneys that come in paying, that we send invoices to for the police reports. On occasion, we have people who represent themselves that come in that would have to pay the fee. But for a majority of the cases, it's most likely defense counsel.
Go ahead. Just follow up. I'm curious about whether there's a disparate impact to people who aren't able to pay this. There are people for whom $20 would be difficult to come up with. It might mean less food for the family. One of the things we don't want to do is reduce people's willingness to report crimes. So I'm wondering if you could talk about that. Has that been discussed, or did it get discussed at the meeting? Finance?
I'm not sure I didn't quite understand the question. Like, are you saying that how it would impact the families as far as if they have to pay for that fee for the police report?
Yeah, I mean, can everybody pay that $20? So if individuals are required to pay it and they're not able to, does that mean that they can't file a report? That's not clear to me.
No, typically, all of our cases come to us after they've already been filed. So the case has already been filed, it's already been charged. That shouldn't affect whether the case actually comes to our office or not.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's on this motion. Can copies of the reports be obtained from the police department as well?
Yes.
So they don't have to go through your office, they can go right to the police department. And do you know what the police department charges to get these?
I couldn't tell you exactly what the police department charges. I don't know if they, most of the time, because the defense counsel deals with our office, we're the ones that provide that information to them.
But there are other recourses, I believe, so yeah.
I'm sorry, what was
I
that?
believe there are other recourses to get those reports if they want them. Yeah.
Correct.
Commissioner Skaggs.
So we're really handing out CDs and DVDs to people still?
Yeah, so it depends on how the evidence is provided to us. So if it's provided to us on a CD, then we just basically copy it to a CD or a DVD. Sometimes if the evidence is big enough, we can copy it to a flash drive.
And this would be evidence that we can't distribute by email or sending it to a secure cloud source?
Some agencies, particularly GRPD, have some of their evidence online, so we can actually share it via email. But most agencies, we get most of the evidence on digital media. So ultimately, for time savings, we end up having to copy them to exactly in the form that we receive them in. It would kind of be a waste of time for us to put it on computers and then copy it again onto something else. So.
I guess I don't really follow that, why someone would give you a CD and you would be compelled to put it on a CD.
Because that's we basically right now, the way that we have it, we have a duplicator in our office. So if we receive a CD from an agency, the fastest way for us to duplicate it is to put a CD in there and then put a blank CD in with it, and it'll copy it within minutes, and then we can just give it to the council. Otherwise, we'd have to wait for it to download on the computer and then email it. It's just, that's the fastest way for us to do it, time-wise.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. This is not a roll call vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Resolution passes. We move then to our fifth resolution, and I will call on Commissioner Korndike.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move Resolution 66 of today's date to add 3 school resource officer positions for Comstock Park, Sparta, and the Kent ISD.
And there's support by Commissioner Morgan. We already have had some questions answered on this. Are there any other questions regarding this resolution? Commissioner Morgan.
Just what I understand of this with the Kent ISD is it's in the city of Grand Rapids, but the city of Grand Rapids could do this, but they're going to the county to do this for their contract, correct?
Correct.
Because there are some county-wide issues with jurisdiction, we're the best agency to participate with
They're
it.
coming to you and
Right,
asking you to
correct.
provide the service, is what I'm getting to.
And I left my cell phone up there, so.
Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any. This is a roll call vote, so I will call on Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 823-1866, Commissioner Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioners Brevi. Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Coleman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Melton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 823-1866 is adopted.
Thank you. We move to our next resolution, and I will call on Commissioner Vonk.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move Resolution 67 of today's date, add 3 road patrol officers for Byron Township from the Sheriff Department.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Voorhees. Questions or comments on this resolution? Commissioner Skaggs.
Well, I appreciate that. I believe the township is paying for 88% of this new addition of service. I do believe that the sheriff should be reaching agreements that have full cost reimbursement for this enhanced service that is non-mandatory. Again, I think we're asking my taxpayers to subsidize public safety in other jurisdictions when those jurisdictions are not subsidizing public safety in Grand Rapids or East Grand Rapids. So I will be voting no.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Salfeld. I also want to point out, though, we are not getting full reimbursement. There is a benefit to the county as a whole by adding these police officers. If there's an emergency within the county, we can recall these officers into other areas and counties, and I think that's a huge beneficial factor. Also, where these deputies are going to be assigned are normally places with high volume attractions. Currently, the danger people from across the county go into that area. I think there's a benefit to them by having these officers there too.
Any other comments or questions? I would just add, too, the county's grown significantly in the last several years, which is a good thing. And as you grow, you need more support in areas like this. So with that, we will vote on it. It is not a roll call vote, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes. We move then to resolution, the final resolution, 8G, and I will call on Vice Chair Bolter.
Mr. Chair, I move new item 8G of 8/23/18 of today's date, I guess.
Support. And that is to go into closed session.
Go into closed session. I'm sorry. And I have a script. I move to meet to closed session in accordance with MCLA Section 15.268C to develop a strategic course of action relative to the county's negotiations of collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, and we got support by Commissioner Korndike. I believe this requires a roll call vote, so I will call on Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to enter into closed session to discuss collective bargaining strategies, Commissioners Antor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Commissioners Breivy.
Yes.
Bulkowski. Hennessy.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Kallman. Korndike.
Yes.
Mast. Melton.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Skaggs.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Chair Salfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. You will enter into closed session.
Okay, thank you. We'll pause while we